Hi beauties, my name is Yulia and that's my channel HI Beauty by Yulia. And the video for today is about alcohol in skincare. Let's start with the science. What is alcohol? It will be an ingredient which contains hydroxyl group, which means that there will be O like oxygen and H like hydrogen into your product. But actually, there are quite a few of those things in nature, in our body. So you might be quite surprised to find that things like cholesterol, which is really highly available, even in things like egg yolks, is actually technically an alcohol. Then you have things like essential oils, whether it's rose, geranium, menthol. Also, you have fish oils, which are also technically alcohol, and then things like retinol, table sugar. But yes, believe it or not, it is all alcohol in a chemical point of view. So you see, there's quite a few different types of alcohol, and some of them might be good and some of them might be bad, but we're gonna talk about those one later. What is important to know is that up until recently, there was not so many studies about alcohol and how it affects our skin. All the gels that you use 105 times per day to disinfect your hands are alcohol based, very highly concentrated. But that's how actually alcohol become a bit more of an issue in our skincare. So now there's quite a few studies, and actually some of them are saying maybe alcohol is not as bad. But for many of us who have tried different products, especially if you already have sensitive skin or some kind of sensitizing condition, whether it's eczema or psoriasis or maybe contact dermatitis, alcohol in your skincare might make things quite a bit worse. All of these ingredients are very similar or the same thing but called in a different name. I'm gonna list them over here so you're gonna see all the names. Maybe not all of them because they all keep appearing. If your product contains alcohol and it is used only as solvent or as preservative, then very likely the percentage will be lower than 1%, so it shouldn't technically be a problem. Alcohol in your skincare product is actually quite the same thing like the one that you have as a drink to chill out. But the main difference and the reason why you can find it as different kind of names is because as it is not made for human consumption but only as skincare product or say your mouthwash, it has to be denatured. So in order for the brand to be able to sell the product and not be taxed as beverage, they had to add on different ingredients like analytical markers so that the product could be easily tested when they are entering different countries, say. Also something that will make the alcohol taste bad and smell different. If alcohol is so bad, then why actually brands are using it? Well, there's a lot of different ways to use alcohol in your skincare. First, they use it because it will dissolve oil, which means that it will help with the penetration of the rest of the ingredients in your cream, say. The reason is because our skin is very waxy. It's covered with oils because they are protection. But that also means that everything that will not penetrate will just stay on the surface and you will waste your money and the products won't be really effective. So brands use alcohol in order to dissolve a bit of this waxy surface of the skin so that the rest of the product can go deep and be efficient. Now also this gives you the feel of cleanliness, which is quite desirable, especially if you have oily and combination skin. And it happens because alcohol is volatile, which means that once applied, it actually evaporates very quickly. So that's the other reason why people are using it, especially for products that are something that is oil free, or simply your face wash that afterwards makes you feel really nice and refreshing. And the reason is because when it evaporates, it gets some of your body temperature, and that's why it has also cooling feeling. And then the other reason why it is quite used is it's very difficult to mix a lot of different ingredients, and we all like our salicylic acid, but guess what? Salicylic acid is very poorly soluble into water. So what brands are using is alcohol in order to get your salicylic acid in the product. And there's a lot of different kind of plants and essential oils which also don't mix very well, or not mix at all, with water. So brands have to use something to combine all those active ingredients, and that's usually alcohol. So because it is a solvent and because it is very volatile, you will find it in a lot of different products that otherwise will be difficult to mix together, or they will feel very thick and greasy, which is very uncomfortable. Alcohol is used in skincare as preservative from big brands like Lancome and L'Oreal because of the fear of the use of parabens. When you look at the ingredients list, you will find that what is the highest percentage in your product will be the first. So say if it's water, then it will be listed as aqua or water. And that means that if your alcohol is listed up to fifth, maybe even sixth ingredients, then it might be a bit too concentrated and it might cause itself irritation. So why is alcohol bad? Well, first is because as it is evaporating, or because it is volatile, it means that when it's gone, it will take with itself some of the water. So this will bring us to transepidermal water loss and obviously dehydration. Now, alcohol doesn't really stay that much on the skin, but the problem is that as it is oil dissolving, some of the issues are that it will damage the barrier, and although the skin will repair itself, still some of the irritants might go into the skin while it is still vulnerable. And also ingredients which are causing irritation, say the perfume or essential oils into the product, will be able to penetrate much deeper because of the alcohol and because this type of barrier is already damaged. There are some studies showing that the use of alcohol into skincare means that it will actually bring a chain reaction from free radical attack to the skin. And although the alcohol is quite quickly gone from your skin, this type of reaction already started, so it will continue to damage your skin for some times after you apply your alcohol-based product. And then, yes, it does feel quite nice and clean, but over cleaning is a huge problem, especially if your skin is oily or combination, because stripping all the oil means that your skin will produce more oil because it is trying to compensate. Although alcohol might be beneficial into your skincare for one or another reason, there are different alternatives, and some of the brands have found them and they are using them. And I understand it is very difficult to find products which are affordable and highly available everywhere, and not everyone is having the time to look at all the labels. But say brands like CeraVe or Cetaphil are much more suitable than something which is highly advertised but has a bunch of rubbish when you look at the ingredients list. You might have heard, read about different claims how the topical use of alcohol might be damaging for your general health, but I have to say that there are no substantial scientific evidence which is linking the topical use of alcohol with any serious health damaging condition, whether we are talking about cancer or any other very serious issues. Nowadays, many brands are using, instead of ethyl alcohol, glycols, because they are not so volatile, so they will not evaporate that much, they won't damage the skin barrier that much, and they do give you this type of glow. There's a lot of different natural alternatives as well. So things like radish ferment could be used as preservative as well. Japanese honeysuckle is antibacterial, it's antioxidant, and also it is preservative. Then, if you like the clean feeling, then you can use better things like witch hazel or tea tree into your products. It's not necessary to be alcohol at all costs. But again, there is the other different point of view, which is saying that alcohol is not so bad. The main concerns that we have are based on studies that are either older or they are on skin cells in vitro in a lab. The concerns from those types of studies were related to the fact that it kills bacteria, but also it might kill your own skin cells, and it will stop the produce of different enzymes. But your skin is not exposed to alcohol in the same manner. It is covered with dead skin cells, it is waxy, then you have layers of those dead skin cells. You will not keep the alcohols for hours and hours because it will simply evaporate from the skin. And then your cream has, say, 5 to 10% alcohol, while these tests were done on alcohol which was 70-80% type of solutions. So the results are something that a lot of people are concerned with. The other kind of alcohols are called fatty alcohols, or they are alcohols which have high molecular weight. And there's quite a few of them. I'm going to list them here. The reason why they are in separate group is because they do affect our skin in completely different way, and that's why a lot of people are saying that they are good alcohols. So good and bad, as I said, is something quite individual. Not only that they are thickening agents, they are emollients or emollients, I don't know, say it as you want. But my point is that they give you this nice and soft, quite often considered to be luxurious feeling that you have applied something very nice to your skin, and yes, it was alcohol. Fatty alcohols themselves are poorly soluble in water. They do prefer the oils because they come from oils. They are usually with origin, whether palm oil or nuts or coconut. So why we say that it might be a bad thing? If your skin is oily or acnetic, they might be too much for you. But the other issue is that as they are with natural origin, although we tend to think that all natural and all organic is great for us, you have to bear in mind that usually in this type of ingredients there is quite a few allergens. There's different ingredients which are more likely to clog the pores and therefore cause the breakouts. And in this type of scale, coconut and palm oil are actually 4 into the scale and 5 is the maximum, which means quite likely to clog the pores. So yes, glycerin and glycol from chemical point of view are alcohols, but we know and we use them as humectants because they retain water. And yes, things like cetyl or stearyl alcohol might be quite too much for someone with oily skin, but if your skin is dry, actually they might feel just fine. Although fatty alcohols are not an issue for most of the people. If your skin is very irritable and sensitive, I'm sorry to say this, but fatty alcohols should be avoided as well. I think it's important to mention benzyl alcohol because It's not low weight alcohol, but in the same time, it's not a fatty alcohol either. And still, it is something which is considered to be dangerous for the skin from some of us. And here's the thing, it is listed as allergen in the European Union, but a lot of the natural organic brands are using it because its origin is natural. And although it might be listed as natural, the reason is because it could be found in the nature, but in your product it might be actually synthetically made and still it will be labeled as natural product. Why it is used? It's because it is preservative and also it is aromatic type of alcohol. The labeling alcohol free, let me just highlight this, is only for ethyl alcohol. So ethanol, ethyl alcohol, grainy alcohol will not be part of your product if you see the label alcohol free. So you might be very surprised when you buy something that says alcohol free, you turn the label and then you see a bunch of cetyl alcohol, stearyl alcohol, and you're thinking, what does this mean? Well, that's why. Because it doesn't have ethyl alcohol, it is labeled as alcohol free, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't contain any other type of alcohol. So bear this one in mind and don't be surprised. Most of the researchers do agree on the topic. Then very often when you have reaction from alcohol-based products, it might not be from the alcohol, but from other ingredients that did penetrate it too much and cause some kind of irritation. If you have reaction, you have to check, is it this product or the other product? How much is too much for my skin? And we don't have really the time. So again, don't look just the label, look at the ingredients list. And if you see some alcohol denat, then my advice is to look for something a little bit more gentle for your skin.